On 27 December, rebels in Syria launched a lightning offensive on President Bashar al-Assad's forces. By the 29th, they captured the city of Aleppo and Hama a week later. The Islamist rebels, led by the Hayat Tahrir al-Sham terrorist group, were closing in on Homs, Syria's third largest city, which is located less than 200 kilometers from the capital, Damascus. Should the rebels capture Homs, it would cut Damascus from the Mediterranean coast, which is a key bastion of the Assad clan. Hayat Tahrir al-Sham's leader posted a video message after his fighters seized Hama. He used his real name, Ahmed al-Sharaa, not his many pseudonyms. Al-Sharaa is also known as Abu Mohammed al-Julani or Abu Muhammad al-Golani, a reference to his family's origins in Syria's Golan Heights. So, who is Abu Muhammad al-Golani? Well, he was born in the late 1970s or early 1980s. His grandfather was displaced from the Golan Heights when the Israeli army entered the area. Israel seized the Golan Heights from Syria in 1967 and annexed it afterwards in a move that's not been recognized by the international community. Al-Golani left for Iraq in 2003 to fight against US occupation. Before founding the al-Nusra Front, al-Golani had fought for al-Qaeda in Iraq, where he spent 5 years in prison. He returned to Syria when a civil war broke out in 2011. The US designated al-Golani as a terrorist in 2013. In 2016, he announced that his group had cut its ties with the al-Qaeda. And the following year, al-Nusra was dissolved and replaced by Hayat Tahrir al-Sham. Today, al-Golani is Syria's most recognizable insurgent, rebranding his group and emerging as a de facto ruler of rebel-held northwestern Syria. He cemented his grip on Idlib, establishing a civil administration there called the Syrian Salvation Government. Al-Golani and the Hayat Tahrir al-Sham have sought to moderate the image, but they face a challenge convincing Western governments that they've fully renounced hardline jihad. Now, Joshua Landis from the University of Oklahoma in the US says al-Golani has been smarter than Assad. Landis says he's retooled, he's refashioned, made new allies and come out with his charm offensive towards minorities. But Aaron Lund from the Swedish Defense Research Agency has a slightly more nuanced take on al-Golani. He says it's PR. But the fact that al-Golani and the Hayat Tahrir al-Sham have issued statements about protecting minorities in Syria show that they are no longer as rigid as they once were. Al-Qaeda or the Islamic State would have never done something similar. Now, al-Golani timed his offensive on Aleppo to perfection. He launched it to coincide with the ceasefire coming into force between Israel and Hezbollah in neighboring Lebanon. Also, get this, Syria's main backer, Russia, is preoccupied in Ukraine. Iran's influence in the region has diminished after Israel defeated Hamas in Gaza and Hezbollah in Lebanon. And Hezbollah, which had fought alongside Assad's men against the rebels and helped him recover Aleppo in 2016, has weakened, and its leader Hassan Nasrallah is dead. So the regional power balance has shaken. Now, Reuters news agency cites the head of Syria's main opposition abroad as saying that the rebels began preparations to seize Aleppo a year ago, but the operation was delayed by the Gaza war. So, did anyone see it coming? Well, Turkey claims it did. Turkey, which is allied with some of the Syrian rebels and has bases inside Syria, had heard of the plans but claims it had no direct role in it. Clearly, the Syrian rebels had never had it so good. Until the last week of November, the civil war in Syria had mostly been dormant for years. The front lines had remained frozen since 2020. But a sudden advance by the rebels has reignited fears of renewed sectarian clashes. Why? Because President Assad and his supporters are followers of an offshoot of Shiite Islam called Alawites, in a minority in a Sunni-dominated Syria, which is threatened to be overrun by radical Sunni jihadist groups such as the Hayat Tahrir, al-Sham. Now, I began this report with Abu Muhammad al-Golani. I'll end it with Bashar al-Assad. In October 2021, Newsweek put Assad on its cover. It read, "He's back in a triumph over the US. Syrian leader Bashar al-Assad is reclaiming a place on the world stage." It was not entirely wrong, since then many countries have sought to normalize their ties with Assad. Now take a look at another photograph. It shows four Arab leaders in the same frame. From left, Ben Ali of Tunisia, Ali Saleh of Yemen, Muammar Gaddafi of Libya, and Hosni Mubarak of Egypt. All four were ousted in the wake of the 2011 Arab Spring, except Assad. The question is, will Bashar al-Assad survive the latest challenge to his 24-year hold on power? Is the regime change probable in Syria? For now, Assad's backers in Moscow and Tehran say they are standing by him. Watch this space.